Yo, what's going on, you guys? Cafe's Kid here. Welcome to Lukewarm Takes, because the opinions button on my microwave just isn't programmed right. Today we're going to be talking about why Kingdom Hearts 3 relatively flopped with the general audiences. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, obviously, and I have a lot to say about the franchise as a whole, but this video is not a review. I'm just going to put it out there right now, I liked Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, it's definitely my least favorite of the main 3 entries, but honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. But before you click away, I promise you my opinions on Kingdom Hearts 3 spread pretty generously across the fan base. There's a really good chance I'm going to say something that clicks with your opinions, so please just stick around and hear me out. Really quickly, I just want to clarify that I totally recognize that everything I'm going to say today is entirely my opinion, and I hope you do too. I want you to take everything I say today with just a grain of sea salt, and I want to have a friendly conversation on the subject matter. With that in mind though, let's get started. Alright, so let's get some of the minute details of my opinion on the game as a whole out of the way really quickly. I thought that the combat was awesome, I thought that most of the worlds and bosses were pretty cool, and I thought that the story was, at the very least, satisfactory. Now, to address some of the major complaints of the game, I want to clarify where I stand on one of the hottest topics. One of the main complaints is that the game is extremely convoluted, and let me be clear, it definitely is. However, if you played these, you should at the very least know what is going on in these, in addition to even potentially being satisfied with the ending of these character arcs. I'm not saying that this is black and white, there are definitely casual fans who enjoyed the game, and there are definitely hardcore fans who didn't. But at the very least, playing the spin-offs should have connected some dots that otherwise would have been beyond you. But if you're not a casual fan, try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. You played and loved Kingdom Hearts 1. Oh, no way, some of my favorite Disney characters and villains. They even included my elementary school best friend who became too popular for me in middle school and started bullying me. How did they get the rights to that guy? A coming-of-age story about love and the power of friendship. Oh, wow, another one! Kingdom Hearts 2 was going to be bigger, better, and badder in every way. And it's gone. There's going to be another one, right? Or maybe casual fans were thinking, oh cool, they released some side games. I'm good though, I don't really want to spend hundreds of dollars on handheld consoles just to play a spin-off game. I'll just wait until the next direct sequel.
2,000 years later.
Finally, a direct continuation to one of my favorite stories. So, we run into one of the major issues of the game. If you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 and you were wondering why there is such a divide in the fanbase and why the game is so polarizing, this is it. Square Enix made a direct sequel to a 3DS spin-off game and they called it Kingdom Hearts 3. This game is Kingdom Hearts 10. Now, I personally have no issues with the spin-offs. Companies grow by creating and selling products, and Kingdom Hearts had a huge fan base. Not only that, but I actually played and enjoyed most of the spin-offs. Most of them aren't inherently terrible games, and they were definitely produced for the target demographic of masochists who hate knowing what's going on.
Oh, I love trash. Anything
The problem though is that they took way too long to produce Kingdom Hearts 3, and then they lied about it being the sequel to a game that came out 13 years prior. The spin-offs are exactly that. They're spin-offs. People shouldn't have been expected to play these games to understand what's going on, and what they were told was a direct sequel to one of their favorite games as a kid. Luckily for me, I did, but that doesn't excuse this kind of mismarketing. And what makes things even worse is that they knew this was going to be an issue, and so they incorporated enough narrative handholding for it to be redundant to hardcore players like myself, but not enough to fill the gaps for new and casual players. So who do I blame for the mixed reception? Square Enix. It's Square. I blame Square. As much as I don't want to blame the company who has brought me so much joy, entertainment is entirely subjective, and it's up to the creator of the content to narrow that margin of subjectivity as much as possible when creating their product. And for all the reasons I've talked about, Square failed to do that. With countless spin-offs, misbrandings, and a significant mainline drought, Square set up Kingdom Hearts 3 for potential failure regardless of the quality of the product, which is something that I've slowly come to realize since the game's release. But again, I personally really enjoyed the game. I truly did. I felt happy and sad and excited and depressed and everything else that I've come to expect from a Kingdom Hearts game. I played the spin-offs and I felt so gratified when many of these characters and stories that I've come to love so fondly over the past few years wrapped up in ways that I could have never predicted. But for the same reason that those story arcs were unpredictable to me, I can completely understand why they were entirely incomprehensible to people who didn't play Birth by Sleep, 358 over 2 days, or Dream Drop Distance. And from the way this game was numbered, they never should have been expected to. So to reiterate, I don't blame anyone who didn't play these spin-offs, and I think that they had every right to be dissatisfied with a game that lied to them. A game that capitalized on their nostalgia for stories they fell in love with so long ago. Ultimately, it's just an unfortunate situation that was a product of too much time and not enough consideration of the fallout as a result. Regardless, I personally will continue to play the future Kingdom Hearts games, including Kingdom Hearts Guitar Hero Edition, because I really think they're great games. Also, I'm a mindless sheep destined to live in the suffering of the hands of the almighty Supreme Leader Tetsuya Nomura's commands. And to everyone who has moved on from the franchise after the end of this saga, let me just leave you with this. May your heart be your guiding key.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Alright, now that it's only hardcore fans left, I'm going to be closing us off with a beautiful, near and dear to our hearts musical number. But because I don't want to get copyrighted, it's going to be a personal, passionately crafted cover of a Kingdom Hearts classic. Someone, please send this to Lin-Manuel Miranda. When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. Hold me. Behind this morning.